Here's something you've probably never thought about. When you forget your password, a good company sends you a link to reset it, never your actual password back. It's not laziness, and it's not a limitation. A properly built company literally cannot tell you your password. They don't know it. They've never known it. Not the CEO, not the database admin, anyone. And here's the wild part. They can still check if you typed it correctly every time you log in, without ever knowing what it is. If a company can email you your original password, run. That's a giant red flag. They're storing passwords in a fundamentally broken way. The thing that makes all of this possible is password hashing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how it works and the best practice in 2026. Let's start with the obvious wrong approach, storing passwords as plain text. A user's table, a password column, save it directly when someone signs up. When they log in, you compare what they type to what's stored. Simple and catastrophically dangerous. Because databases get breached constantly. The moment your database leaks, every password is exposed in plain text instantly. And it's worse than just your site. People reuse passwords. That same password probably unlocks their email, their bank, their entire digital life. So let's encrypt them instead. Better instinct, but still wrong. Encryption is reversible by design. There's a key somewhere that decrypts it. If an attacker gets your database, they'll likely get the key too. We don't want reversible. We want a one-way function. A hash function takes an input of any size and produces a fixed-length output, the hash. And critically, it's a one-way operation. Property 1, deterministic. The same input always produces the same output. This is what lets us verify a password. Property 2, one-way. Given a hash, it's computationally infeasible to work backwards to the original input. There's no unhash function. Property 3, the avalanche effect. Change one character of the input and the entire output changes completely. So instead of storing the password, we store its hash. To log someone in, we hash what they typed and compare it to the stored hash. We verified the password without ever storing it. If the database leaks, the attacker gets hashes, not passwords, and they can't reverse them. Attackers know hashing is deterministic. Password 123 hashes to the same value on every system, so they exploit that. They hash millions of common passwords once, in advance, and store the results in a giant lookup table mapping hash back to password. A rainbow table. When they steal your database of hashes, they don't reverse anything. They just look each one up, an instant match. If two users share a password, they share a hash. One lookup cracks both. The one-way property never even came into play. So how do we defeat it? Make sure identical passwords produce different hashes. We add a salt. A salt is a random, unique value generated for each user and combined with their password before hashing. Watch two users, both with the password hunter2. Each gets a different random salt appended before hashing. Same password, different salt, completely different hashes. This breaks rainbow tables entirely. The attacker's table was built for unsalted passwords. They'd need a new one for every single user. The salt isn't secret, it's stored right alongside the hash. Its job isn't to be hidden, it's to be unique. Bcrypt and ARGON2 handle this for you automatically. Here's the counterintuitive part. You might reach for a well-known hash like SHA-256, cryptographically secure, battle-tested, perfect, right, wrong. SHA-256 is fast, deliberately fast, built for verifying files and signatures. Modern GPUs hit billions of evaluations per second. And that speed is a catastrophe for passwords. Even salted, an attacker can take one hash and try billions of guesses per second against it. The solution: use hash functions that are deliberately, intentionally slow. A quarter-second hash a real user never notices. Billions of guesses per second becomes a handful. Slow is the feature. That's what separates a real password hash from a general-purpose one. So which slow hash do you actually use? The recommendation has shifted recently. Let's go through the 3 real options. bcrypt from 1999, the long-time standard. A tunable work factor, salting built in, 25 years proven. But it caps passwords at 72 bytes and barely uses memory, now a weakness. scrypt from 2009 introduced memory hardness. It deliberately burns memory, not just CPU. That neutralizes GPU-S and I/O-S, which have huge parallel compute but limited memory per core. Argon2 from 2015, the current gold standard. Won the password hashing competition, resists GPU, I/O-S, and side-channel attacks, and is now specified in RFC 9106. Argon2 has 3 variants. Argon2D maximizes GPU resistance, Argon2I resists side channels, and Argon2ID, the hybrid, is what OWASP recommends for general use. The bottom line for 2026, new projects should default to Argon2ID already on bcrypt. It's fine to stay, just make sure new code uses Argon2ID. Let's put the whole thing together, the complete registration and login flow. Registration: the user submits a password. The server generates a random salt, then hashes password plus salt with Argon2ID. The hash, with the salt and parameters embedded right in it, gets stored. The plaintext password is discarded from memory immediately. Login: the user submits their password again. The server retrieves the stored hash and recomputes it, using that same embedded salt and parameters. Then a constant-time comparison against the stored hash. So a mismatch can't leak timing information an attacker could exploit. One more trick. On a successful login, check if the hash's cost factor is below your current target. If so, rehash it right then, upgrading security over time with no forced reset. The mistakes that turn a good algorithm into a broken implementation. 1. Using a fast hash like SHA-256 or MD5 for password speed is the enemy here. 2. Rolling your own scheme. Don't hand-implement salting or invent something clever. Cryptography you write yourself is cryptography you break yourself. 3. Reusing a salt across users. It must be unique per user, or rainbow tables come right back. 4. Never raising your work factor as hardware improves. So here's the whole idea together. Never store plaintext. Never even encrypt that's reversible. Use a one-way hash, salt every password, make it deliberately slow. In 2026, that means Argon2ID, and that's why a good company can never email you your password. They genuinely don't have it. Just a salted, slow, one-way proof that you know it.